People that I know are definitely going to see this and it's going to be so embarrassing because I am going to cry and it's on the internet and that's so cringe and I know. But what I'm about to say is a completely true story. I'm going to change out some identifiable information because HIPAA, it involves a nursing story. So aside from like what happened, all the like details just, they're not, they're made up. Okay. So I was on orientation. I'm a new grad in the ICU. I am now off orientation, but this happened while I was on orientation. Anyway, so we have this guy, I'm going to call him Jason. He's a 40 to 60-year-old man. So like kind of young, has kids, married, whatever. Very, very sick. I had him for truly like the whole time that I was pretty much on orientation. And he, really sick, intubated, CRRT. I learned so much from him, which I will forever be grateful for. Truly learned so much. So thank you for that. Nearing the end of his stay, he all of a sudden turned this huge left corner, and I was like, oh my gosh, did I heal him? Woohoo! Got him extubated, got him off CRT. I got to hear his voice, got him sitting up on the edge of the bed. Like it was, I think, one of the best days of my whole life. So that was earlier in the week and had a couple days off. I was feeling so good. And I come back to work and it was a night shift. And, I'm like, I don't know, excited to see what new patient I was going to get, what else I was going to learn. And they say, hey, Bailey, and my preceptor, y'all got to get out on the floor. You have Jason back. And I was like, what? Because again, I'm on orientation. So like, I should be getting like, I was like, he's fixed. Like, what do we, I mean, like fixed for the ICU, but I was like, what do we mean? Like, why am I getting back? And they're like, oh, we're actually coding him. What? So we run down there and sure enough, we're coding him. He's back on CRT, back to being intubated. And I am just devastated. Oh my God, was I devastated. So we walk in and we just start working. It wasn't even, I guess it was like right at 7 p.m. We didn't get report. Because again, I'd had this patient for weeks. And so I knew, I was like, but what happened? And it turns out it happened. It doesn't matter. Anyway, some other things happen. And we go in at 7 p.m. I don't walk out of that room until 3 a.m. Like 3 a.m. It was crazy. Blood, sweat, and tears. And 3 a.m. is whenever we came out. We're just like, there is nothing more. There is nothing more that we can do. And I was broken. Okay, so come out. 7:32 a.m. and Jason passes, and it was devastating. And and the ICU can just be like tough, and losing anybody is tough. This one has stick with me and will stick with me forever. And I promise I'm getting to the ghost story. I promise. Okay, so he passes, and I just want to stay to do postmortem care because for me that's such like it gives me closure. I can get them all cleaned up and make sure that they're like as comfortable as possible. Like it's just the last little bit that like I can do, and it helps me. Okay, but I can't because it was so sudden, and so we were giving family time to like come and blah blah blah. Okay, and I was coming back that night, so I couldn't just like stay. Like I have to come back. I have to go to bed. I have to like be ready to go for the next day, which is so challenging. Okay, so that happens, and I am so not okay. I am so not okay, but I have to be okay because it's the ICU and I'm new and blah, 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 blah. Okay, so months goes by from that moment, and from that time on, it was weekly. It was turning into like an every other day situation, whether I was working or not. I was having panic attacks. I was having nightmares. I was physically so unwell. One particular night, I'm coming in for my shift. I'm off orientation. I'm on my own. I've been practicing on my own for a couple months at this point, and I just feel terrible. I'm still having panic attacks. Before this particular shift, I'm having a panic attack in the car in the parking lot of the hospital. And I was just sitting there and I was like, I'm not strong enough. I can't do this. Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I was kidding myself. Major imposter syndrome, but panic attack nonetheless. Shaking, crying, hysterical. And I thought, okay, just don't clock in and go quit. Like if you really can't handle it, go quit. Walk up to the floor. I'm like, no, I've breathed, I've composed myself. Clock in. So I'm there. I'm getting my patients. Like we're having a shift. And I go on and I get my patient assignment. Great assignment. We're chilling. This one patient that I got, I don't think we need a name for him. Anywho, he was there for alcohol withdrawal. Beginning stages, but beginning to hallucinate if you haven't worked with or if you're unfamiliar with that. So they start to hallucinate. He was seeing people in the room. He was seeing things crawling on the wall, but like nothing scary, because sometimes they can be really scary and I feel really bad for that. But his were fine. And he was also very trusting of me. Like he was like, hey, I've been through this before. I know I hallucinate. It helps me if you can help reorient me. Anytime you walk in the room, just, I trust you. I know who you are. I was like, sweet. So we're going through the night. Everything's groovy. I'm able to get him off of hallucinations. He'll be like, this is there. And I'm like, and he's like, do you see that? And I'm like, no, like, I don't see that. Or, hey, I have a concern about this. And I would go check. And I'm like, no, like, I'm not seeing that. But do you feel safe? Are you okay? He's like, yep, I'm good. I trust you. Again, we're chilling. Several hours into the shift, all of a sudden I'm looking at the monitor, super tacky. He turns on his light, like from his bed or whatever. And I'm like, whoa, that's so strange. So I fly in the room. I'm like, maybe, hallucinations getting to him. I'm like, hey, what's up? And he's agitated. Oh my God. He was so upset with me. And he was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, whoa. I was like, hey, like, what's up? I was like, because, sometimes that happens and no big deal. We roll with it. And so I'm trying to help reorient him. And all of a sudden he goes, Jason's in the corner. Sir? Jason? I'm like, okay. Well, because I didn't think that up at first, but I go, who's Jason? And he goes, that guy that died in here. And goes on. He's like, this is where his spouse was. This is what you did. This is what you guys talked about. This is music that you played for him. This is what he liked to do. And he's in the corner and he wants to talk to you. And I'm so mad that you're not talking to him. So I hightail it out of that room. I'm like, oh my God, he's right. And he knew his name. And I'm like, what room am I in? I was in his room. In his room. So I run out of the room. I'm freaking out. And I'm like, no one's going to believe me. Everybody's going to think I'm crazy, that I've like lost my mind. So I run up to my charge. I'm sobbing. She starts kind of getting emotional. And she's been a nurse for 25 years. So she was like, whoa, I've never heard anything like this. Anyway, I go back in the room. And I was like, okay, what does Jason want to tell me? Because I can't see him. And he calmly tells me, again, I just had a panic attack. And the man in the bed that's hallucinating says, Jason's in the room. He's been in here. And he's wanted to talk to you all night. And he wanted to say that he has moved on. And that you need to, too. And I hadn't moved on. I hadn't. Obviously. And I just started crying and I just said, okay, thank you. And he said, no, thank you. And I was like, oh, what did I do? And he said, no, that's what Jason wanted me to tell you. He wanted me to tell you thank you. And oh my God. Since then, I haven't had any panic attacks. I felt so much more confident in the ICU and in my skill. And I carry him with me everywhere. I think about him all the time. And his family, and just how beautiful of a person he was. But I truly learned so much from him. He was an amazing person that I just learned so much about how to be a nurse and how to care for people in really shitty situations. So, cheers to Jason. But yeah, that's my ghost story. My past patient haunting another patient to tell me that I needed to get my stuff together and move on. So anyway, that's my story. Thanks.
So the following happened to me when I was about 8 or 9 years old. I'll preface this by saying that the house that I lived in at the time would often give me just a weird vibe. I would get the sense that I was being watched, but I couldn't necessarily see what was watching me. One night, I woke up and I turned onto my side to look at my clock radio. I saw that it was around 1 or 2 in the morning. My room was dark except for the light coming from the clock radio. I returned to my original position, and right before I closed my eyes to go back to sleep, I saw that there was something standing at the foot of my bed. It was this tall humanoid figure. It was kind of like, it's at the foot of my bed and I'm lying down, so it's sort of looming over me. And it was a slightly lighter shade of black than the surrounding darkness, so I could vaguely make out that it was there. I couldn't make out like distinctly that it had like arms or anything like that, but I could see the vague outline of like a head and shoulders. There were no discernible features except for its eyes. I could vaguely make out that it had these big eyes, and it was just kind of, staring down at me like this. The really interesting part of the story is that I don't recall being frightened of whatever this thing was. I don't have a memory of that. Maybe I assumed, oh, was this somehow my mom who was coming to check up on me? Was I just dreaming? One detail that I haven't mentioned yet is that my room had a carpeted floor. Around like 8:39ish, I woke up, got out of bed, and as I was walking around my bed to get to my bedroom door, I happened to look down, and right in front of the foot of my bed, I saw the impressions of 2 feet in the carpet, which to me means that, well, A, something had been standing there, and B, whatever it was had only gone away shortly before I woke up. What was it? I have no idea, but I hope I never meet it again.
I go to town for work, and I was gone for a total of I want to say 8 months at the time. Obviously, I didn't want to pay for my rent whenever I was gone, so I decided to get a sublet. Just disclaimer, I'm not blaming her for this. This could not have anything to do with her, but I'm just stating what I know. So anyway, so there's weird energy. I'm trying to just ignore it for the most part and not really think much of it, but I am very sensitive to energies and very sensitive to spirits and stuff like that, so have been for a while, but I haven't ever felt anything in my house. I've only, it's only been weird experiences out in the world. But anyway, get back. It just feels weird. There's just something off about the entire apartment. But mainly, the main part where something's off is in my living room. I don't know, but on that side of the house, it just feels dark. And I couldn't figure out why, or still don't really know why. I started looking at my cameras in the apartment just to see if there was anything weird or off that was happening, or just the basic paranormal things you would look for, of things moving or voices or whatever. And I was back for probably I don't know, I was back for probably 3 months, maybe 4. And there was one time where I was talking to my dog and I had just given her a treat. She was eating, and I didn't hear anything while filming her eating her little carrot. And I played it back. There was a moment where she just stops completely and stares right next to me like someone was there, which she's been doing more and more since we've gotten back to the apartment. I think that's when I asked her, is it good? Just to get her to distract her. And in the video, when I watched it back, I heard a whisper, and I listening to it over and over again. And I don't want to like put out what I think it says. I kind of want you to listen and like let me know what you think it says. But I have my opinions and I'll share in the comments. But same day, I'm going to get ready for work, and this is maybe like less than an hour after the video. So I'm already like, you know, hyper aware of something going on. So I start getting ready, and I'm in my room doing my makeup, and like thought I hear things, but of course I feel like I'm being paranoid at this point. There's this one point where I'm getting ready and I swear I heard something, and honestly I'm just so curious at what's going on in my apartment at this point that I'm like, let's go back to the security cameras, let's see what we can see or hear what we can hear, and then just kind of like go from there. Like maybe it's nothing, maybe it was just like a one and done, but like no, I feel like this thing wanted my attention. I decided to wait to like watch anything back until I'm out of the apartment and I'm like in my car headed to work, whatever. And so I get in my car and I put my phone on, you know, to the car, trying to figure out like what we can hear through the car speakers. I start playing it and like everything's like normal, fine. You can hear me kind of like fumbling around in the back, but it's nothing like, I'm not talking, there's no voices, I'm not talking to anyone, I'm not on the phone, nothing. I'm listening and I'm driving along and I'm like, all of a sudden, and it was like unmistaken, I hear a woman's voice say something. And again, I don't want to put it in your head of like what it is, so I would rather like you just let me know in the comments if like what you hear for both of these videos. I've dealt with spirits before, but I've never had to like get them out of where I live. And so this was new for me, new territory. So I, you know, post it and I'm like, friends, help. I think there's a spirit and I don't know if it's a happy one in my apartment. So, you know, I'm getting comments and like multiple people were like, get some sage, which luckily I already had, walk around the house, just let this spirit entity, whatever you want to call it, let it know that it's your home and you have to like tell it to get out. And so I look like a crazy person doing this in my apartment. So since I had saged it, I haven't really heard anything since, but like I still feel a presence. Like one of my best friends stays over a lot and they'll sleep on the couch, and he was saying like he could feel in the middle of the night like something there, and he was like, I was up almost all night, like, he was like, I was in and out of sleep all night trying to figure out like what's going on. I didn't tell him about this because I didn't want to freak him out, and then whenever he said it, I was like, okay. I feel like at this point I'm just kind of living with whatever it is. As long as it stays neutral, we're good. Like I can coexist with whatever it is. I feel like since then it's been better, but I definitely still feel it. It, you know, feels a little weird every now and then, a little dark every now and then, but as a whole, it does feel better. Anyway, I'm gonna put the video up next, so let me know.
Is it good?
Okay, so when I was about 14, we relocated to the suburbs of Chicago. We're originally from LA, but before that we lived in Texas. Then from Texas we relocated to Naperville, Illinois, specifically like the west suburbs of Chicago. And I remember living in that home that my parents had bought. That was beautiful home. It's probably one of the prettiest houses we've ever lived in. With that being said, it was the most fucking creepiest houses we've ever lived in. I remember, you know, as a teenager, you're a fucking shithead. And I just remember, like, not believing in really anything. I didn't really believe in ghosts growing up, in, you know, before these encounters. And I just remember like one night I was in my parents' room, and my parents have these two giant French doors that open up into the hallway. All the bedrooms are on the second floor. So I was like at night, I was talking to my mom, and she was standing like away from the entrance of her room, like closer to her bathroom, and we were talking, and I was facing the hallway, and I remember I turned to look at the hallway, and I saw a man, a fucking man. He had to be like over 6 foot easy, tall, skinny, white, with sunken cheekbones, big blue eyes, and he had a bowler hat on, and he was wearing a black suit. If we were to pick him out from a time period, it would probably be like 1920s attire, but he had like a bowler hat on, okay, and he had clean shaven, white, with sunken cheekbones, and these like crazy blue eyes, big, just staring at me. And it wasn't like an evil stare, it wasn't like a malicious grin, it was just like him staring at me, like stone face, just staring in my soul. And I remember I freaked out. I like jumped, and I was like, oh my god, who the fuck is that? And my mom saw my reaction, and she's like, what happened? And I looked at her, and I was like all shocked, like, and I looked back, and he was gone, fucking gone. And I stood there like, oh my god, did I just see a ghost? I have to have seen a ghost. Like, that was the craziest thing I've ever experienced in my fucking life. To this day, I'm an adult now, and I have never experienced something like that. And I just remember standing there in shock, because I was like, did I just see a ghost? Like, it was so real. He looked so real. And then he was gone. And then that's not the craziest thing. I remember living in the house was always unsettling. I remember going to bed at night and feeling like someone was always staring at me. Like walking in the dark through the house, I would always feel like a presence. Like I felt like someone was like right there, like watching me. And I always felt so like uncomfortable ever living in that house. The entire time. I have lived in that house for almost 5 years, and I always felt uncomfortable living there. And the craziest thing is, not only did that happen to me, my mom one day, it was like a school day, we were all at school, my dad was at work, and she was like washing the dishes, and she looked out from the window, and from the window in our kitchen, we could see the backyard, and we had a pool. They had a pool in that house, and it was like right before it started snowing, so it was already cold. They had the pool was already covered up, and my mom said she looked up and she saw a toddler. She said like a kid. She said probably like not even 2 years old, running towards the pool, and she freaked out. She's like, oh my god, there's a baby running towards the pool. And she said the baby was only in diapers, and I was like, huh? So she told me this baby was in diapers and running towards the pool, and she freaked out. So she said that she like stopped, she like ran out, you know, to go stop this kid from getting hurt, and the kid was gone. She didn't see the kid anymore. She said she stood there like trying to look for this kid. She said she looked around and nothing of the sort. And she said she stood there for like at least 5 minutes, like, I swear to god, I just saw a kid run towards the fucking pool. And to this day, we don't know. And you know, our neighbors too didn't have kids. Like, our neighbors on each side, they had like grown-ass teenagers. You know, it was like a retired couple, and then like the other one was like teenagers, so like no babies in sight. And she said it was like this little tiny white baby that ran towards the pool, and she freaked out, and she was so convinced that that house was haunted, because every time even she would like feel uncomfortable being by herself all day in the house, just like, you know, she'd find excuses to like leave and go out because she didn't want to be there by herself. Like, to this day I remember living there feeling so uncomfortable. But when I was 18, I moved out to go to college. And we're from LA, so I moved back to LA to live with my grandparents. And I just remember feeling so much more comfortable, like living with them, because like their home, I've never felt that presence. And the craziest thing is, the home they live in is old. They've been living there, like that house was built in the 1920s, and they have been living in this house since the late 80s, early 90s. So they've been here for a minute, and I've never felt uncomfortable. I've always felt like totally fine. I've never felt weird presences. I've never felt anyone watching me. It's always been like super, super chill living in this house. But that house in fucking Chicago, in Naperville, Illinois, was so unsettling. And like, my parents don't live there anymore. Like, they moved out. My mom, when my sister moved out for college, she was like, we're moving out, and they moved out ASAP. Never have I lived in a house so unsettling and uncomfortable. And I don't know if it's like the area, I don't know if like you grew up in Chicago, but like, is that a thing? Is like there a man, like a ghost, like a bowler man, or what's it called? A man in a bowler hat, a white man in a bowler hat. Is that like a thing in Chicago? Like, do people see him? Because I saw him, and to this day, I can't explain it. Like, I'm really like, I don't really believe in a lot, but that shit, I believe in ghosts now. I do. And I saw that man as clear as day. And I don't know who the fuck he was. And if anyone knows, I would love to get insight on that, because that was the creepiest experience of my life. And I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds like unbelievable, but I saw that man. My mother saw that baby. I don't know what the fuck. That house is fucking haunted. I hope the people that live there now are not experiencing what we experienced. But I don't know, guys. I don't know. I want to know more about that man.
Okay, I'm filming this again because I said in the beginning of the last time I tried to film it was going to be short. It's not short. It's very long. Strap in. So, like a lot of people in our generation, there's a lot of things in my brain that I have compartmentalized or just completely forgot about. So that's first off. But my sister never forgets anything. Don't matter the trauma. It does not matter. She doesn't forget anything. So we used to live in this house in Houston. It was in a neighborhood called Fallbrook. Okay. I don't remember this house. I don't remember it. Like, until my sister jarred my memory watching these stitches with these ghost stories, where she was like, my sister goes, well, I'm glad all the ghosts that I ran into were nice. Ghosts? Because, girl, we've lived together our whole lives. So what ghosts are you referring to? What ghosts are you talking about? Clear this up. She's basically like, yeah, that house we lived in Fallbrook, that house was haunted. There was like at least 3 different kinds of ghosts that I would see in that house. And now my good old noggin gets to working. It's like she shifted something in my head, like something I had not considered. She's like completely shifted in my brain. Now all of a sudden, this is at the forefront of my brain, and I am remembering this house. The way it looked, the way it felt, the rooms. I'm remembering it vividly. My sister and I shared a room. We shared a bed and we shared a room. It just what happened. So we are in our bed. We're sleeping, okay? We're in this room. And like I said, I didn't remember anything about this house before this. So the fact that these memories came in as vivid as they did is pretty jarring. So we're in this house. We're in bed. We're sleeping, right? We're facing each other. Okay. When I fall asleep, we're facing each other. Okay. Something just wakes me up out of my sleep. I mean, like a sudden, like I just wake up, right? I wake up and I'm blinking my eyes and I'm looking at her face, and it is like sunken in. There's this white skeletal outline on her face, and her eyes are black, deep holes. Her mouth is this, I can see an outline of a mouth, but it's just black. Oh my God. Oh my God. So I'm terrified. I can't move. I can't talk. I'm scared. I blink my eyes again. I'm like, because I can't see. So I have terrible vision. So I'm thinking that this is a trick of the light. That, oh, this is her face, but I'm just seeing this because whatever, I can't see, right? That's what I chalk this up to. I'm like, I'm not going to wake my sister up. She's going to tear into me for waking her up when she's asleep, saying she has a skeleton face. What am I talking about? So I keep trying to go to bed, but the face will not go away. It won't go away. I don't know how long I tried to go to sleep, but I didn't want to roll over because I was so scared of leaving that face facing my back. Even though it was my sister, I'm still like, I'm terrified. So I blink some more. I can't get it to go away. I'm like, screw this. I am turning around. So I turn over. So now she's facing my back. I'm facing the wall, right? So I turn over. I'm trying to go back to sleep, right? I'd say maybe 15 minutes later. Oh my God. It gives me like, oh my God. 15 minutes later or so, about, I don't know. I'm scared, so time is not the same. I hear my sister turn over. And I can feel her breath, like on my, like kind of like on my back. You know, like it moves your hairs. I feel her breathing. This means she has turned over from facing the wall and turned so that her face is now facing my back. When I woke up and looked at my sister's face, or what I thought was her face, it was the back of her fucking head. No bullshit. I hear her turn over. I feel her breath. I am instantly terrified. I am like, something's, this is not right. Not that like my sister's possessed, but something, what the fuck? So that was my experience. And I didn't remember anything about this house. I didn't remember. So my sister tells me that before this incident, there was another incident where she woke me up and she's like, Nisha, I need you to get out of bed. I need you to get out of bed. I feel like something wants to hurt you. Like, I feel like there's something inside of me that wants to hurt you. Like, I need you to get out of bed. And when she told me this, I vividly remember this. She's like, yeah, in my brain, I woke up and all I could see were brick walls all around me, just brick walls surrounding me. And she said, and I felt like I was going to choke you. And she's like, so I told you that I need you to get out of the bed. So like I said, I completely have wiped this from my memory. So now when she tells me that story, she tells me that happened before the ghost story. Now I vividly remember not wanting to sleep with my sister anymore. I was like, we're not sharing the same bed. I don't want to sleep with her anymore. And I remember it hurting her feelings. She was so hurt by it. I remember now. I don't know if our relationship was ever the same until we got older. Because we had stopped sharing a room with each other. And the house was haunted. And in case anyone's going to ask, like, what kind of spirits my sister saw, she said she would see, she said there was a little boy and his mom in African, like, wear. And she said they would sit like either like on the couch or on the floor by the couch, and she would see them there. And then that there was another one. She said those ghosts felt friendly, but the third one didn't. Now that's all I've got. If y'all want me to go cue her up and she can tell y'all what happened, that's what I remember. Like, and like I said, I didn't remember it. So